Welcome to MathomBooks. My name is Jeremy.
My name's Therese.
She's behind the wheel. We are on our way to go on a New Mexico river adventure to do some whitewater rafting in Taos, New Mexico on the Rio Grande River. We're really excited. But we have recently finished the Fellowship of the Ring, being the first part of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. And we wanted to tell you guys a little bit about it. We enjoyed it. We're doing the audiobook primarily, although we've been reading it as well. And Tezi will sometimes kind of reread some sections that she heard already. It's been fun, but we've been going back even with some of the songs, and it's been a really cool experience. We're going to tell you quickly about kind of 3 highlights each that we both enjoyed from the book, or what's kind of stuck out to us. You guys have already seen in previous videos, that's perhaps linked somewhere like around here, where we've talked about things like Tom Bombadil. We talked about Tolkien and the idea of memory. We talked about Saruman and how he was able to hide his evilness. We talked about the gift giving. And also other ideas on the destruction of the ring, etc. So when we last had a video on the Fellowship of the Ring, we were just entering the Great River. The Fellowship had left Lothlorien, and so now we finished that. We've gone through. They went down the river. There's the pretty amazing scene that is surrounding Frodo making his big decision. Is he going to stay with the Fellowship and maybe go to Gondor? Or is he going to, maybe even on his own, take off and take the ring to Mordor? Tezi?
Yeah.
In the book, out of the Fellowship of the Ring, what's been one of your favorite parts, or what's kind of stood out to you the most, or what's the first thing you want to talk about?
Well, I really loved Lothlorien and that whole part. It's just, I don't know, it's so beautiful and so kind of like a paradise or like a heavenly place that's kind of untouched by the growing darkness and evil like outside of it. And it's just a really cool like image and picture and place. I especially liked the description of the trees like sparkling with like green and gold and silver lights. It just sounds like so pretty and magical kind of.
Very cool. I love that idea too. Like, I love Galadriel. She has one of the rings of power, Nenya, and it enables her to do exactly that, to kind of fence out the evil and to kind of protect that realm. It's connected to a story in the Silmarillion. There was a Maya called Melian, and she actually marries an Elven king. But Melian is a very powerful person, and she has this thing that is called the Girdle of Melian, and it's basically, she has like a protective circle around her kingdom, and keeps it safe and out of the sight of people for long, long periods of time. And Galadriel is doing kind of the similar, work with her ring of power. And I think she even says, do you remember somewhere in there she says to Frodo, something like, there's more than, the fight against Sauron is more than just with bows and arrows. And I think she's alluding to this idea that there's this kind of magical, mystical, spiritual power, this spiritual struggle, and she is on the front lines of that, with Lothlorien defending against the powers of darkness, like you were talking about. It's really amazing.
Kind of related to that. It's just cool how she describes how she can like see Sauron and Mordor and like what he's doing and stuff, but he can't see her and what she's doing. She's like hidden from him still.
Right, yeah, it is pretty awesome. And Sauron Sauron wants so badly to know what she's up to, and and that power of the ring, Enya gives her the power to, because they're connected. We know that if the one ring that Frodo carries, if it ever does end up back on the hand of Sauron, he will have dominion over all the rings, and he will be able to bring even those 3 rings that he never touched under his dominion.
Wait, we know that for sure?
Yeah.
I thought it was just like some people thought that the power of those rings would be like...
That's if the ring's destroyed. Yeah, that's if the ring's destroyed, and that's a great question. There's debate as to what will happen. If the ring of power gets destroyed, what about the 3 rings of power, the 3 elven rings that were never touched by evil? They're good rings. Gandalf has one, Galadriel has one, and then Elrond has one. And some people think, well, once the evil ring is destroyed, they will be able to blossom and grow again and kind of return and restore that beauty and elven, memory back to where it was. Other people believe, such as Elrond and Galadriel, that once the ring of power is destroyed, then even the 3 rings will fade in power, and in other words, it's kind of a changing of the age. So we'll see what ends up happening. People probably can guess if they know Tolkien at all and his style of writing. But yeah, that's a good question. So, but the other side of it is that if Sauron did get the ring back, they do know that they would fall under his dominion, because that's what the one ring does. It is a ruling ring over all rings of power, including ones he didn't make himself.
But weren't they not under his dominion when he had the ring before?
No, they were. That's why they took him off right away.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah, so the 3 elven rings were made, again, without Sauron's help at all. They were made completely, if you will, in a blessed state of grace. There was no stain of evil upon them. Sauron the whole time is making the rings of power. He hands the 9 to the humans, the 7 to the dwarves, and he makes the one ruling ring. And the elves, there they are, they have their rings on. As soon as Sauron puts on the one ring, when he first made it, immediately Celeborn could feel it. He knew. He's like, whoa, Sauron has that ring. This is evil. He felt it, and immediately they all took them off, and that's how they went into hiding. And that's why it's a big secret to this very day, to where we are in Lord of the Rings right now. Really, not very many people know who has the rings of power.
So when Sauron lost the ring, they put theirs back on.
Exactly.
And they started using it.
Yes, exactly. Which is why Galadriel's wearing it when the Frodo and Sam meet her. Exactly. So that's exactly right. But before the ring was lost, they had not worn the rings at all, because then they would have been revealed to him, because he had the ruling ring. So yeah, so really interesting stuff. Lots of levels. It's actually starting to rain outside, which is kind of cool. I'm not sure if you can hear that in the video. But one thing that really stood out to me this time, and I was telling Tezi about it, I think we listened to it a couple times, was when Frodo is contemplating. They're at Amon Hen, and they're about to make a decision. Basically, Aragorn is telling Frodo, what are we going to do? He kind of puts it into his hands. Are we going to go to Gondor, or are we going to go further east? Frodo, of course, is having a very difficult time deciding. He feels he must go by himself. He doesn't want to drag his friends into this, but he knows they would follow him, of course. So he's thinking, what am I going to do? He's afraid to go to Gondor because there's all these people there that he doesn't know, and he doesn't want the Ring of Power, of course, to get taken. So he goes up into this place called the Seat of Sitting. The Seat of Seeing. And it's this ancient place where kings of Gondor used to go to kind of see far. And it's very interesting because he gets kind of a vision when he's up there. And the way Tolkien writes it, it's really powerful. But he first describes, he sees these armies and these cities in Gondor getting, in a sense, ready for war. And he feels this sense of hope because he sees their power, he sees the men and their shining armor and their shields, and you can get this image of, wow, okay, it's like patriotism almost, wow, we're ready for war, and he felt this sense of hope. But then, in the vision, is kind of inextricably pulled eastward towards Mordor, towards Mount Doom, and he sees the massive armies of Sauron, and he sees, eventually gets to the Dark Tower itself, and there's that great line where it says, all hope left him, because he realizes we have no chance. Sauron has enabled a force so large and so powerful, we're done. And if he gets the Ring of Power, then it's even, we're done 100-fold. I just thought that was great writing. I love that element of it. Just that emotional travel, that happens in that short, it's really a couple of paragraphs, all that takes place. So I really enjoyed that. Tezi, is there another section that you were thinking of? Or something?
I don't know.
No, go ahead. My voice is dying.
I just have kind of more general thoughts, I think.
Let's do it, of course.
Okay.
This is where you guys can tell we're just going by the seat of our pants on the road. We were singing a lot of songs earlier, so my voice is kind of shot right now. Maybe we gotta talk as loud as possible.
So I guess one thing that's definitely been a big part of reading this time. I've said before, I did start reading it and read a good portion of Lord of the Rings a couple years ago, but I don't really remember it for whatever reason. So a lot of it feels like the first time. And
well, there's a lot. There's so much.
Right. Yeah.
It's very dense.
And so, but of course, I've seen the movies several times, and so I think part of my experience of reading the book is kind of reshaping some of the characters and some of their traits from what I had in my mind, what I had known from the movies and all that. Just kind of getting a deeper understanding of them, or seeing a different side of them, or things that aren't really portrayed in the movie the same way they are in the book. So that's been cool. I don't know. I like it. I like getting the actual original authors' portrayal.
The real story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not that I think that the movie